game over. Second half, everybody in the booze are all talking to each other. We've got the Rebs on in the background, stuff like that. Just, you knew it was game over.
I'm second guessing it, but I guarantee in the pubs, see when the final whistle went, I bet there was no cheers went up or anything like that, because you're not waiting on it or anything.
No, we were on talking late, and when the whistle went, there's a few that went yes, and that was it. But you knew it was over at half time, so
aye.
Yeah, sorry, I just say come in there. Wait now, I just seen a picture of all the inflatable monkeys.
How do you say it's cracker?
That's the first I've seen that. And there's like a sort of wee zombie in between all the monkeys.
The RST have made a complaint about that, haven't they?
Aye.
But now they're not called monkeys; they're called hunkies.
Somebody just says, how can you dehumanise a support that calls themselves bears?
Exactly, that's how fucking thick they are.
That there, so there you go.
No, but it was a bit of an anticlimax the second half, and like Jason says, if we draw them in the Scottish Cup, they'll be shaking themselves, especially if we get them on a decent pitch. Can you imagine them at Celtic Park? They'll just crumble.
I know.
Absolutely crumble. And the good thing about it is the Huns know that as well, don't they?
They definitely know that.
They know how fucking bad they are.
They definitely know now, Brenton. They know like clearly now. I mean,
Kenny Miller's not so sure.
Yeah, well,
he's always been.
That's an insult to people's intelligence.
He's just trying to get another year in his contract.
Aye, exactly. So, see if we play them again this season, do you think they'll have a clamour for tickets like they had for that? Because I don't. Because I'll tell you, if I was them, I wouldn't be looking forward to going to that.
Well, I think you're wrong, Jason, because now they've got the 5 superstars with Newcastle.
Jesus, and Peter Lovencrantz.
Happy to be there, didn't they?
Did you read that Peter Lovencrantz has backed up 2 of them, but says he doesn't know who the other 3 are?
Apparently 2 is injured, aren't they?
I don't know. How are they getting away with this, by the way? I mean, if you're Hibs must be saying to themselves, how does the owner of Newcastle become a major shareholder in Rangers and then just give them 5 players?
I think
you just answered
your own question, Dave.
Yeah.
They've always got away with stuff like that, haven't they? The old team and all that. So what's different? The Scottish FA, they're bent over backwards because
Mike Ashley's still got to go and face charges for the SFA apparently over this conflict of interest.
Yeah,
so there is a conflict of interest there. I mean, if you're Hibs, you've got a serious complaint, surely.
But put it this way, right? Mike Ashley was summoned to a meeting, right? I think that meeting ended up being a conference call because he just said, no, I'm not going. Right? And like we've said many times, when you get billions of pounds, you don't got to do shit for anybody. Exactly. And Mike Ashley doesn't have to do a fucking thing the SFA say. You know why? Because Mike Ashley could buy and fucking sell the SFA tomorrow. Right? So
no, I don't agree with that at all. If the SFA turn around and say, well, you can't just do that. They can take points off Rangers, they can fine them, they can send the players back.
Harper, Mike actually doesn't give a fuck about that, though.
Dermot Desmond has billions, but he can't get Celtic out the EPL either. He can't just buy things and it doesn't work.
Yeah, but that's a different animal.
Yeah, but Dave, what you've got to remember is going back since the liquidation 3 years ago, the SFA and the SPL have done everything they can within their power to keep some sort of fucking Rangers in that league.
That's different. Now that's because they're bending the rules. It's not because Mike Ashley.
Yes, but Harper, and Mike Ashley knows
the rules were bent for Ashley. Trust me. But the thing is,
that's what I'm saying. They're getting bent for them. So Hibs should have a serious complaint here. And being the fact that Peter Lawwell's one of the most powerful people in the SFA now, this should be getting looked at.
Well, we'll see what happens. That
the thing is, but Harper, Mike actually knows that they will bend over backwards to have somebody with big money walk in there and keep Rangers afloat. So he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
No, he can't. I
think he can.
He can't just do what he wants. That's nonsense.
He's got them by the balls.
Within reason, he can do what he wants. I mean,
he's got them by the balls and he only owns 9% of the shares. He just keeps pumping money into them. And Dave Kane's come back on this scene with the rest of the idiots. They can railroad Mike Ashley out of town. It's like Joe just said, the one with the biggest wallet will win at the end of the day.
Well, they're dead.
No, I don't agree with that.
What do you think, Jason?
Well, do you know what, right? This might piss a few people off, right? But I think the rules they have in place between this sort of cross-border stuff between Scotland and England is miles out. Because people can own 3-4 different football clubs anywhere in the world.
Oh,
but they can't. Exactly, but they can't own one in Scotland and one in England when there is no conflict of interest. So why is that? Why do they have this agreement? You know, I think Mike Ashley should be able to do it, because I don't see why you can't have a.
But that's a different story.
It is a different story. It is a different story. But I think the rules for Scottish football are wrong. They've been put in place for I don't know what reason, but it's just, I think it's a bit draconian, to be honest with you. But as Mike Ashley goes, he'll find a way around about it. The guy's not a millionaire, billionaire for nothing. So see with this, I've been speaking to a boy we all know the night, and we're talking about it. I think Mike Ashley would be good for them, but they'll no buy into it. I think, see with this, like them being like a bit of a feeder club for Newcastle, that could be a right touch for them, but their fans obviously they hate him because he doesn't know the words to the sash and things like that.
Apparently he's got an Irish granddad in here, so I've read.
But like, I think he could be good for them, because at the end of the day, if they win, it serves his interest better. If they buy more strips for his Sports Direct, it serves his interest better. It doesn't really suit him to shaft them. But at the end of the day, if they play hardball and they piss him off royally, he'll then call the debt in, he'll own Murray Park, and he'll say to them, right, I'll just take rent, $2 million a year or $1 million a year, and you can rent it off with a 20-year lease. So
I think that's what his end game is. Well, not the end game, but do you think that's what he knows is going to happen, and that's why he's doing it?
I think maybe his end game would be maybe own them.
Yeah.
He must know that he's not going to get back. He's not going to get their backing.
Well, he's maybe finding it now.
I made it pretty fucking clearly.
But maybe he can't believe how thick they all are to not accept them.
Because as you say, he's done his due diligence. I mean, he knows he's not wanted with them. And we're talking about, this is the vast majority of them. It's not like a small pocket.
But do you think the problem...
I don't think he's set foot in Glasgow, Dave. He's done it all by remote control, hasn't he? And he's got a couple of guys on the board there. You don't give a shit about Rangers.
That's what I think as well. I think really he wants to control the assets. He would love the fine not to be
He's got the assets, then he's got the badges apparently. Right. He's got the shirt sales. He's got everything that makes money.
I think that's what he wants more than anything. He knew that's the way it would head, because as you say, he's not a stupid guy.
Oh, you know and I know that the Huns are terrified how far ahead we are. Now, for them to get anywhere near Celtic what we are now, you're talking between 50 and 70 million. King and his mob ain't got that sort of money. They ain't got to pump it in. And even if they do get control of them, you can guarantee if we keep winning the leagues and the cups, the monkeys will start revolting against them. Because there are 20 years of David Murray. Basically, if you listen to Paul's stuff on the Asterisk years, illegally pumping money into them to get them what they got. Them days are gone.
Is the problem then, Graham? Brendan. Is that they don't realise how far behind they are, and they just want a golden Lawrence of Arabia to fucking waltz in with a big checkbook. And Mike Ashley is not that guy. He's not going to waltz in and start spending money.
Well, there was a guy. Somebody put a clip on a guy on, I don't know if it was Radio Clyde or Real Radio or whatever, and he was talking about Rangers class. And he says, the Rangers class, we need guys like Terry Butcher back, your Brian Laudrup, your Gascoignes. That's Rangers class. And you're like, well, fucking minute here, that's. So signing a Paul Gascoigne, that's the equivalent of you getting fucking, I don't know, that's like fucking signing Ross Barkley for Everton.
I think Brian Laudrup's on the follow band list now, to be fair.
Why?
Oh, did you not see his article yesterday?
No.
I read it. It was published in a French magazine, an interview with a French magazine, and he says they were asking him obviously about, because the Celtic Rangers game was back, as they would put it, and they were asking him about it. And actually, to Jason's point earlier, he spoke about how, as a player, there was no better derby he played in, and he'd played in Milan derbies and Bayern Munich against Dortmund and another one that I can't remember. He says, but. He says, as a player, he says, the best place ever played was Celtic Park, and he loved to see Celtic doing well in Europe, and he always took pride when Celtic done well in Europe, and this, that, and the other, and he always really enjoyed playing at Celtic Park, and he likes to see Celtic doing well, and he's like, I know the Rangers fans will not be happy with me saying this and all that. It was in a French magazine.
Then again, put it this way.
So he's definitely on the band list now. Like,
those Laudrup brothers don't give a fuck about, rivalries. Because look at Michael Laudrup. He's the only player in history to fucking beat Barcelona 5-0 by playing Real Madrid and beat Real Madrid 5-0 by playing for Barcelona. He doesn't give a fuck about rivalries. I mean...
Okay, no, but
sorry,
What's that?
So sorry to cut in you just because you mentioned Brian Laudrup. I remember doing that.
I like that's quite interesting stuff. I like all that kind of stuff anyway. But it's the realisation is like to live within their means, for them to build up a like brand, like we've got at the minute. 10 years has been kind to them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right.
That's if we stand still, Jason.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right, Brendan. You're talking about they're further back now than they were in the late 70s, early 80s, when they had guys like Alec Miller and Gregor Stevens playing with them. They are awful, because when that's the age we are, Brendan. So when we grew up going to watch Celtic, they weren't giving us a challenge. It was Aberdeen and Dundee United.
Jason, I went back to Glasgow 83, 84 for a year. I lived with my brother. He stayed in Partick, which is a big Hun area. They were getting crowds 10, 11,000 then.
Less than that, mate.
Me and my brother used to play for the Criterion football team there. So Hun Pub, there was only 2 teams that played for the team. But we used to have a good crack with the lads that was in there. But the crowds in that were 10, 11, 12,000.
But that's to your point then, of what I think, I don't think Ashley's there to pump loads of money in and make them this first, because as you say, there's so many years.
No, but
I don't think Ashley has a long game. I think Ashley has that game of calling in the debt, taking on all the assets. Somebody says to me actually more today when we were talking about, he's a Spurs fan, and we were talking about how the sort of how you can't have 2 clubs, right? Say Ashley became outright owner of Rangers, and he was saying I'd probably rather own Rangers because they would have a bigger worldwide support than Newcastle, would be able to generate more money. And I was like, that's nonsense. Like, Celtic can't generate more money than teams in the EPL. Because teams in the EPL is where the money's at. Rangers are not going to be making more money than what Celtic are currently making at the minute.
But seemingly somebody made a point, a Spurs fan, or it was a Newcastle fan, made a point that, say, I don't know how long Ashley's been with Newcastle, maybe 8 years or whatever. When he first went to Newcastle, them and Spurs had a very, very similar merchandising deal and very, very similar like sales. So, for instance, say they were talking about, for instance, a merchandising deal, they were bringing in like 12 million quid or whatever a year worldwide. Spurs are now up to 60 million and Newcastle are down to 3 million because Ashley takes he's getting the rest.
Oh, yeah, he's tied them up. Big stuff.
He's tied them up, so he gets everything. But I don't know. You think to yourself, I don't know. You always think someone like him, you would say to yourself, he's got potfuls of money. So I don't know. You think if he went into Rangers and say he made them like a Newcastle feeder club, they would still benefit out of it by getting some quality young players.
Well, I agree with you. I think the Huns have got it completely backwards.
Aye, because they want this Dave King because he's a sash man.
Jason, Celtic got 3 billionaires, aren't they?
Oh,
they don't put the money into Celtic, do they? It's the fans that generate the income and the player sales.
I don't think they're allowed to put the money in because Celtic.
No, that's the point exactly that I'm making. There's no way that Mike Ashley is going to put billions into Rangers. He's never going to get a return on his money for a start.
No.
Why would he? If he's that bothered about the Rangers team, why didn't the 5 loanee players come last week before the Celtic game?
Aye, that's a fair point, mate. It's a fair point. Right.
He's in there for the commercial deals he's already got tied up.
You think to yourself, but see with the commercial deals, like the Huns they're going nowhere anyway. So you think to yourself, if you just take him on with these commercial deals, because if he makes money for the commercial deals, then surely the club will be performing at a half decent level in order for the fans to buy the stuff. No,
he could have put an orange kit out, couldn't he? For Sports Direct. And then they've been clamouring for him to buy the club.
That's a fair point. Maybe he's got the trading rights to the red hand. Get that in the back, big red hand, can sell 40,000 in the mortar.
Tony McAtee saying in the chat room that Ashley's loans have early payment penalties.
He's done a lot like a kipper, mate. They're all clamouring for King to be in charge. Mike Ashley.
He's slowly mortgaging the whole fucking club.
Yeah, for 9%, he owns 9% of the shares. That's how clever that bloke is.
King and that funny were directors when they went into liquidation, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I listened to Radio Scotland tonight, and that Tom English, who I don't rate whatsoever, but tonight he was bang on regarding Dave King. He's saying there's no